Andrei Constantinescu de la Linia Urbană aici. Sunt în Control Club, unde urmează să facem un interviu cu cei de la Jadu Heart. Ei sunt prezenți anul acesta la festivalul Europa Vox și vom sta un pic de vorbă cu ei despre muzica indie, despre cum se vede muzica în general în opinia lor și hai să vedem ce putem să aflăm. So, hey guys, nice to finally meet you face to face. I've been listening to your music for some years and you're doing a very, very, very good job. I'm glad you're here in Romania for the second or the third time now?
Second time. Second time in Romania.
Okay. So let's see. Europa Vox Festival. How do you see this opportunity for you and for other bands from Europe to come together and play music and share also experiences through a cultural musical way? How do you see this?
For me, I think it's just great. Romania is somewhere that I never would have thought we might have come, so to have a festival like this, which basically gets a lot of different bands in from, all over Europe, all over the world, it's great. We've already met 2 or 3 bands and so we're all like, oh, we're in Bucharest, that's amazing. So it's a great opportunity and it's cool to build on the, the indie scene or the alternative music scene, in Romania as well.
Yeah.
We played one festival before, that was with Arctic Monkeys. And it's just, I want to come back. Hopefully it keeps growing.
Summerwell, right?
Summerwells, yeah. So hopefully it keeps growing and it'd be cool to do a headline show or something here one day.
Alex?
Yeah. No, it's like the same thing. I mean, growing up in the UK, to be able to come to Romania is amazing, and the city is beautiful, and I don't think I would have necessarily ever had the opportunity to come over here without this, without this show. We did do the festival, but it was outside of the city, so we didn't necessarily get to come and visit and experience it. But yeah, it's a great opportunity and it's wicked,
Yeah.
Nice. About music in general, about indie music actually. You also, in your approach, in your musical approach, you also go towards the indie genre a bit.
Yeah.
How do you see indie music in the past 6 or 7 years? Is it getting back? Is it transforming into something else?
I don't know. I guess the thing is, in America, indie music, I guess with Mac DeMarco or something like that, never really, it really took a hold of the world, that whole scene. In the UK, it died out a lot with club music coming in, and you have Disclosure or Laura Massa or even Subtract and electronic music. And I think for us, we grew up with indie bands and songs and stuff and guitars, and I think naturally you want to do what is kind of going on around you a bit more, and there's a big post-punk scene in the UK and kind of around the world, but it was we felt like we needed to stick to our guns a bit and be what, we like more classic indie pop songs or whatever.
We like songs.
And I think it just annoyingly, probably to our detriment, we just make music and then it ends up being how it is, so it wasn't very thought out. And it's interesting that you say indie music, because
what is indie actually?
Yeah, I guess originally with
changed,
Buzzcocks and stuff was the original indie, or whatever, and I guess I don't know.
I think it's changed now. I feel like music all over the world, especially in England and America, it's one genre doesn't exist anymore. So you've got indie mixed with post-punk, or you've got indie mixed with shoegaze, you've got indie mixed with pop. Indie alternative, and there's so many little,
a bit of everything.
Yeah, a bit of everything, and so the actual definition of it has changed. And for us, I guess we kind of just have always have this indie kind of base level, like a cake or something, and then we add other things on top of it as we go. So we'll always have a little bit of that. It's just guitar based, really. That's what I call it, just guitar based.
Is it the core of the band, the indie side?
I think, no, you know what? I don't.
That was an accident.
So.
I wouldn't have even thought, because originally we were trying to make music like J. Paul, when we met at university 10 years ago, and because that was so exciting to us because of his writing, and then the production was insane. And I guess the indie thing, it's interesting because you got the Strokes, that have become this monumental heritage band all over the world now. I guess maybe if somebody was mentioning the Strokes like 8 years ago, it'd be like, oh, the Strokes, I remember the Strokes, they were like this big band and they were cool, but they've come back around, you know, they've had their 20 years and it's like the Strokes are like this, you know, you got JPEG Mafia being like, if I was to work with anyone, it'd be the Strokes or some shit, you know, and it's like such an interesting crossover. I think that indie side has just come back, you know.
I think, like, you know, we grew up with indie music when we were like 15 and 16. You know, that's what we were listening to. But I think, so it's naturally within us somewhere, you know, the way we write or whatever. But like, really, I don't think we're anything specific.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of just genuinely, like, we'll finish an album and we're like, we get bored very quick. Right, done with that. Something new, like whatever. We're in the studio, just whatever comes out is just...
I wouldn't have actually described this as necessarily indie before, but then I guess if you look at like I'm a Kid, like our top song or whatever,
that is kind of
like,
indie,
it's definitely an indie song.
We write so many, you know, so many different types, so many different genres, and I really don't like to be pigeonholed into
cheap
one thing.
production, you know, that's it. Cheap production.
You know, we exist because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We just started off and we were like, I don't know, let's
believe in yourselves.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
I don't know, did we?
Somebody believed in us.
Someone believed in us.
The almighty God.
The people that listened to our music believed in us, you know, and that was like, wow, like, we didn't think we'd be able to, we didn't think anything of it. We were just making music.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I think we, you know, from that allowed us to, we just make what we want to make, you know, because we were never put in like a box or anything, so we just allowed us.
Me in a box.
I didn't want to be put in a
restrictions.
box. No restriction, just fucking.
Because also, I guess like you have like the psychedelic sound that was coming from wherever, you know, and you can stick to something. And I think for us, it's like music is so exciting, especially new music, or like, you know, whatever's going on. And if I'm getting into something, I'd hate the idea of being like, I can't do that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, if you do all these different genres, then in between that, that's where your sound is, you know?
Right.
Like if you're making a hip hop track or a post-punk track or whatever, and they all, in between that, there'll be a correlation.
We sound like us.
And that correlation is you know?
DNA,
not the genre.
your musical DNA.
Yeah, exactly, right?
That's nice.
Exactly, yeah.
And also, like, I don't really see myself as a musician, really. Like, I feel like I'm an artist, like, in my brain. And so, and like, music is just like the medium I've chosen to express myself.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, I'm not doing some technical, I don't know any chords, we don't know any theory, any chords. It's just like...
All the chords are the same.
We realised during rehearsing.
They were like, you're playing the same chord.
We have a name for that in Romania.
Really?
The musicians that don't know chords and don't know notes and stuff like that.
They're idiots?
They're actually... No. They're actually called lautari.
Oh, okay.
And lautari are... the gypsies that learn from a very young age to sing by ear.
Wow.
Notes.
Wow.
That's
can you write that down?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to, because that is like...
Coming back to music, let's talk a bit about your music. So, are you working on something right now? Your last album was released last year.
Yeah, January,
Yeah,
we've written our next album.
We've got a next album written. We need to finish it. But it's super exciting for us, you know, because originally we wanted to make it like a folk record, and then we went in the UK and we did this tour. It's kind of folk like tour with just acoustic instruments, and it was great fun. But it really like made me excited to not do that.
Yeah, we had this whole plan, and we did like the folk tour, and we were like,
oh no, actually maybe working with technology is a lot more interesting and fun than it, you know what I mean? And you try and find purity when you're making art, right? Most of the time, and naturally, you know, as you get older, maybe you grow into a mindset that directly correlates purity and authenticity with simplicity, and you know, an origin thing. Like technology seems to become in the way, and I think like I realized while doing that it was like, that's wrong, you know, like you can find like authenticity and purity and, you know, creation through like any technology. You can be so separated from the sound that comes out, but still have your soul like imprinted on it, like you said, the DNA.
Yeah.
So the next record we're doing like a It's like a trip hop record, basically.
A lot
I was
better
not
than
expecting
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, like,
Trip hop.
like
Okay.
you were talking
Yeah.
about the musical DNA, right?
Yeah.
It's like, for us, it's a trip hop album, but for you might listen to it and be like, this
Yeah.
just sounds like
Maybe it's
Jadu.
indie.
Yeah, maybe
Wow.
it's indie for you.
Yeah.
Is it? That's
We'll
what I mean.
see, yeah.
It's a very
Don't know if
interesting, you
it's
know.
indie.
Well, a lot of the things we think about our own music, you know, like because we're so varied and people have so many different frames of reference, you know, like we'll say like, oh, we're doing this, we're making a folk album. Everyone's just like, oh, this sounds like really hip hoppy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. Like if that's what it sounds like to you,
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's hard. It's funny. It's so interesting hearing indie things because no one really mentions it too much in
In the UK,
the UK because it became such a dirty word. Past.
why?
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's very stuck in that 2008.
Well, it's like
People tend to judge.
like 2013. Yeah. So people see indie as being like what, like maybe like a band like, you know, apologies for mentioning. Well, maybe they're a good band, I don't know, but like Two Door Cinema Club or some shit like that.
okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of became what was like referenced with them, and
I want to reclaim,
Which is
I wanna
annoying. Yeah,
indie,
reclaim
like,
it, man.
Fuck that, I don't care.
because there's incredible bands, you know. Maccabee is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, always will be.
Yeah.
You know? And they're insane indie band. But yeah, the next album, trip hop.
So how many songs do you have right now?
Out.
From the new album, how many songs do you have ready
Um,
to go into production?
Like 13,
That's
and then we're gonna do 3 more weeks. We wrote it over 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
But you see,
But
it
we
was
wrote
a
like
year
25 tunes.
We've got a lot of tunes. I bet by the end of it, we'll probably have like
Yeah.
50, which will go down to like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But this is over years of thinking, trying stuff out. Like, you know, it's not like we just like did nothing and then like sat down. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of in your head, like going over, thinking,
And also-
discussing, going to the pub, getting drunk, talking about what we're gonna
Yeah.
do. You know, like
Because back in the day, people would record a record so quickly, you know, they'd rehearse it or whatever for a certain amount of time. Like Bob Dylan's Rolling Stone, that's the first take.
Yeah.
Bam, you know, that recording is the first take of that tune that they
He's not a
ever
human
played.
being, man. He's not.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's so insane. And it's like we kind of were thinking, rather than spend 2 years making demos, we'll just go off and do what we need to do. And then when we feel like we've got something ready, we'll just go and we'll make it in like 5 weeks, you know? And
That
we
seems
did,
legit.
and it was
Yeah.
great. And if that 5 weeks had happened 6 months ago,
We would have
it
had a
would have been a
folk
folk record, you know? And that was just like, it was just quite, it happened to come around to the point where we were like, we want to, you know, push it in a different direction, you know?
So this next question is going to be very, very serious.
Okay.
So prepare. What do you think your best flaw is, and what's your best quality for the band I'm referring right now? Are you perfectionists?
We were, and then we learned to not be.
That's good.
Yeah, because like it's always gonna fuck you up, and you have to make decisions from like power, right? Being powered by the decisions that you're making, rather than being in fear, right? So if somebody's gonna mix your album and put your vocal like up front dry, and that's just like how it's happening, and you can't get away from that. Rather than fighting that, you just have to record the vocal in a way that you feel like fuck it, you know, or some shit like that. And
Yeah.
I feel like our worst flaw is also our best thing, because it's this thing of like, we don't care about what's going on in the music world. We don't care about what other people are making. And like, so we kind of just do what the fuck we want to do. And we know how to finish things. So we make projects, we're not like precious about it. And like, kind of like, we are in our own way, but like, we're not like spending 10 years on one album, on one bass line, you know, it's like right, this is a project, it's done, let's put it out. At the same time, you know, that means that people can't place us. Like people struggle to, Jodie Hart, like what music are they?
yeah,
10 people say 10 different things. So people, you know, magazines, blogs, whatever, will find it very hard to, in an industry where they feel pressure to put things in boxes, you know, we don't fit into a box. So I think that's kind of been a hindrance for us at the same time as being like the best thing. It's
but then
definitely
as we
a problem.
grow, it's become better and better.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're like flaws. What are flaws other than character? You know,
Yeah,
like
at least-
character is the only thing that you should be striving to create as any, like in any aspect of your life, really. You know, it's like all of the shit that we will do wrong. It's like when we produce, we don't use plugins, right? We decided we're not going to use plugins. We have very select few, that will do like something very specific that we need. Other than that, all in the box stuff, because you know, I need to figure out how to make something sound my own, you know, and like guitar pedals, you know, hundreds of guitar pedals, because they all have
it's endless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're like messing about too much trying to perfect something, I don't know, I always feel like you're the more you perfect something, the more you take away from what really is going on and what people really want, you know.
Does it become more rational and not emotional?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the perfect way. Yeah, you're like castrating the creativity from it, you know, the excitement, you're castrating the opportunity for it to be unique, you know,
to be wrong.
which is weird.
I
We're
think,
not
like, you know,
robots. I mean,
but as in like
we're
to
allowed
be, the flaws are the best bits in a lot of music, and then sometimes the flaws are bad. It's a balance, isn't it?
The flaws are the best bits of people in a weird way, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I love people.
So many of our friends, you know, so
the perfect people.
We love them.
There's, you know, how am I gonna have a drink with you and figure out and have like a true heart to heart if they've never fucked up, you know? Like I need to dig deep and find out about you, and you know, and it's the same with music and emotion. I think you just get better at knowing what's worth the fight.
Yeah.
You know?
I think another flaw maybe is that we're not very good at being pop stars. We're not very good at this.
Don't be.
I know, but it's like it's difficult. Like, you know,
yeah.
it's as in like, do you not agree?
No, I just don't know when we would.
No, but this is what I mean. I think that, you know what it is. It's like, I think a lot of bands or a lot of people are very good at getting their image across and like taking pictures of themselves and like being all like, you know, like, you
social media stuff.
Yeah, like as soon as the camera comes out, me and Alex are like snails. I'm literally like, I can't. I can't. And when I'm on stage, it's fine. It's more the other stuff around it, like, you know. So we kind of have to do it in our own way. Which
but it's interesting that you say that, because it makes me realize that we haven't been confident in our flaws with social media. Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe that's we learn.
So maybe that's our thing. Maybe we need to
apply the same to
flawed concepts to social media, and you'll have something great.
I was just thinking about you guys being snails. I was imagining. That would be interesting. with instruments, like
like a little snail costume.
That'd be cool. Like,
maybe.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Why not? Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Good luck tonight. Thank you very much for the interview, and we hope to see you again very soon in Romania.
Yeah.
Love to do that.
You too, mate.
Thank you for the interview.